There we go. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Sorry about that. It's like the third time is the charm around here for me. I don't know why. The first 2 times never want to launch, so sorry about that. Good morning, everyone. Cheryl, Ginger, Brianna, Lynn. Good morning, ladies. Janice, good morning. How you guys doing today? Someone asked me yesterday when I did that little live if about something with swirls, and I'm not sure if these are the cards you were talking about, so if they are and you're on here, if you could let me know. Good morning, Marjorie. Hi, Karen. How you doing? From New Jersey. Hi, Karen. Nice to see you today. Diana from North Carolina. Thanks for joining. And Paige. Paige is from New Mexico. Wow. Bet it's nice and warm and sunny there. Good morning, Yvonne. Where are you? From Iowa. Out in the middle of America. Hi, Donna. Good morning. You have your coffee? Me too. Got my coffee too. This is about my 4th cup. So it should be an interesting day. Okay, so we will get started today. I just have a few things I want to share. Cold weather here in California. Oh boy. That must be because it's going to be 60 today here. That's usually the way it works. We always get the opposite of California. My brother lives in California. Hi, Eileen and Lisa. Thanks all for joining today. So before we get started, we're not making this card, but someone had asked me about this card, so I'm not really quite sure if this is the one they were talking about. So if it is, I'm going to tell them about it. Good morning from Oklahoma. And from Wichita, Kansas. Oh, I've never been to Kansas. I have, if you want to count The Wizard of Oz. I've watched that 80 million times. Okay, so before we get started today, I just wanted to remind you, in case you're new, my name is Rachel from Rachthestamper.com. That's my blog, Rachthestamper.com. You can also find me here on Facebook at Rachthestamper and on Instagram and YouTube as well. And if you haven't already, I would love to sign you up for my newsletter. I usually send it out like every other week. And what you need to do is just send me your email with permission, and you send that to Rachthestamper@gmail.com. So if you want to be on the newsletter, I don't send out a whole lot of stuff because I kind of find that myself, I notice that if I get too many emails from one company, I usually delete them. So I probably sent one out maybe once every other week. Hey, Jason, thanks for joining. And also, I'm trying to make a sales goal by the end of tomorrow. So if anybody has anything that they're looking to purchase, you can get all that in my online store. And that is rachthestamper.stampinup.net. It's not a huge amount of money that I have left, but it's a little goal that I set for myself. So I'm trying to hit that. So if I do still have the hostess code open, it's pinned to the top of the page here on the Facebook page. So if you place an order through me that's $50 or more, I will send you a free pack of the faceted gems. I'll mail them to you with a little thank you card. I had two people in the past 2 weeks that got one each of those. I think I sent one gold and one clear out. The clear ones are really cool because you can color them any color you like. You can use the Stampin' Blends and color them, or probably the Stampin' Right markers as well. But if you help me achieve that goal, I will send you a pack of those with a $50 order for free, and you'll also get a free PDF tutorial. I'll send it back to your email. So aside from that, right now with Stampin' Up, we are anticipating the Occasions catalog, which launches on Friday. So if you would like to be able to order out of that, all you have to do is sign up to become a demonstrator. And you can sign up under me. You would go to rachthestamper.stampinup.net, and on the top right corner there's a button that says join now. You just have to click it, fill out your information, and you get to pick $125 worth of stuff for $99, which is pretty cool, and you get free shipping. And if you wait until December 1st, which is Friday, to join, you will get to pick out of the Occasions catalog. So that's really cool as well. So if you've been wanting to get your hands on anything like that, you can order that as well. And is that all? Also, I believe the retirement list comes out on Friday for the current holiday catalog. So they're going to, let me just grab that. They're going to put out, should have had that handy. They're going to put the retirement list out for this. So things that are going to retire, stamp sets, like the embellishments and whatnot. And if you guys remember from past years, These are as supplies last, so if something sells out, they are not making any more because it is kind of the end of the holiday season. So when they put this list out on Friday, if there's something you want to get and you're kind of hemming and hawing, you really should get it now. I'm sure I can probably confidently say I don't think any of the Halloween sets are going to carry over. So if there's something you've been waiting to get, most likely not. I do believe that the Painted Autumn Suite will be in the, at least in the Occasions catalog. So, and the little leaf punch. So the Painted Harvest set, I don't know about the paper, but the Painted Harvest set and the punch, I'm fairly confident that will be in there. Also the Hearts Come Home, the stamp set, and the Hometown Greeting Edgelets dies, I'm pretty confident they're going to be in there as well. But a lot of times what happens is you lose the bundling price. So you have to buy them separately. So instead of buying both and you save 10%, you have to buy them separately. So if there's something you want to get, this would be a great day to get it, today or tomorrow. That way you don't have to worry about the rush of things going out of stock or things not being orderable anymore. But anyway, this catalog does run through December 31st. But again, a lot of it will be while supplies last, or whatever is left until the end of the catalog. So again, if there's something you've been wanting to get, I can't get it magically for you if it's gone. And a lot of times if you wait, you're going to pay an astronomical amount on eBay. So just prepare yourself. If there's something you want to get, make sure you get it now. And then the Occasions catalog will go live to customers to order. That won't be until January 3rd. So what we're going to do today, so someone wanted to see these. I don't know if these are the right cards or not. So if they are, and you know who you are, shoot me an email at rachthestamper@gmail.com and I'll tell you how I made these too. There is a video for this, but I can't remember if this was the one you asked for or not. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do some embossing on, let me show you something so you can see this, on a window sheet. So I've only done this so far about 4 times. Here's the total 4 times. So it is going to be a learning curve, but I have seen some people do this. Now, some people do this with different, I guess there's a little bit thicker acetate out there depending on what brand and what company you may be with or whatever. So I wanted to emboss on ours to see if it would work. And so far, I will give you a few tips that I've learned from these thus far. This is going to be the best one here that I did, right up here. It's going to be really important that you use your anti-static embossing buddy, because if not, you're going to get a lot of this little extra stuff around here. The other thing you could probably roll over it if you didn't have this was a Swiffer duster cloth. So I'm going to try it a couple different ways and we'll see what works. So a Swiffer duster cloth, but definitely your embossing buddy, because that's going to cut down on the static. And then another thing that I brought in to see if it helps us is I grabbed an old cutting board. So mine is plastic, and I just covered it with some foil because supposedly, now I'm a little leery about this with the window sheet, so I haven't tried this yet, but we'll find out together. Supposedly, if you're heating on like a cutting board, it's going to kind of heat the underneath, so it'll heat both sides evenly. So hopefully this will work as well. A dryer sheet, that's another great idea. This is more so for getting the extra dust off afterwards. So anything that you miss, like the dust from the embossing buddy, that will get this off really well. But a dryer sheet definitely would cut down on the static too. That's a really good point there, Becky. Thanks for bringing that up. So we're going to try using this when we emboss. And what I thought we could do today, again, I haven't made an example, so we'll figure something out. I thought we could use, I have a few pieces left. I hope I didn't put them somewhere. I have a few pieces left that I cut out with the Hometown Edgelets Greetings. So with these guys, what I did is I did a bunch of these before, and I made a little box. If you haven't seen it, this is what it looks like. And I used the multi-purpose adhesive strips, and I put it on the back. That way I could just stick these right to the box. Made it really easy to cut them out. And I had a couple left over, so I thought maybe we could use these for the card today and see how that works. And I thought we could do the little Santa flying through the air is my goal, to put that on the window sheet. And then we'll put that on the front flap so it kind of peeks through, so when you lift it up, he's out of the way and we'll just see the houses. So we're going to kind of have to see how this works to do this together. And if I missed anyone's questions, I will go back at the end and look at the questions and answer them. And if you have any questions that I missed, please feel free. Just send me an email at rachthestamper@gmail.com and I will answer any question that I can. And if not, I will find the answer to it. What did I do with those little sheets? I just had them right here a second ago. I sound like, I can't remember what the secretary's name is in Greece, but she always had her hands on something, and the lady always teased her and said that they should have chocolate smudges all over it, which is kind of how I feel right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the Big Shot, and we're going to cut out either a square, or if you really wanted to make it look really homey, another good idea I thought would be to use the ovals, because it would look like maybe like you were looking for an old-time window. So you could use an oval if you didn't have the squares for this, but you could cut out a square. We're just going to make a little window sheet. Love how we try things together. I know, that's kind of how I feel all the time, Donna. Like it's the first time I've ever stamped in my entire life, every single Wednesday. You'd think I never stamped before. Okay, well, I don't know what the heck I did with those. I just had them. I swear I did. I even had them like front and center so I wouldn't lose them. Oh well. Okay, we'll make new ones. No biggie. All right, so what we're going to do first is we're going to lay out our card. So I was kind of thinking if we did these houses, since I already had them, technically I already had them cut, I thought we could do white. Just looking through here real quickly, see if they're underneath somewhere. I thought we could do white houses and then the background would be navy. But if we did a navy card, would we want to have like a navy front as well, or would we want to have like a cherry cobbler or a green? So that's my predicament right now, because I thought if we did it on navy, I wasn't really sure how it would look with navy and red. I guess it doesn't look too bad, but honestly it doesn't really look so Christmassy. So maybe what we'll do is we'll just stick with all navy. Or the other thing we could do is we could put it on red and we could make a layer of navy on the inside. That would be a good idea too. We could do that. All right, so follow along with me. Let's see if I can follow this path that I've created for myself, because I feel like I'm losing it here. Let's go with, now if we do navy, we're going to have white words. You know what? We'll try it anyway. Let's see how it works. So I'm going to cut a piece of navy. So 4 by 5 1/4. So this is going to be for our inside layer. And we'll layer this onto, let's see, cherry cobbler might be pretty, but it might just be too dark. Of course, I'll grab the wrong end of my paper here. That kind of looks pretty, even though, let's see. Let me see if this is measured correctly. 4 1/2. So we want 4 1/4. And let's see, we have 5 1/2. I'll go ahead and score that at 5 1/2. And let me see if that measures to 5 1/2. Yep. All right. So we're going to go with this. We're going to go with the cherry cobbler base. May I suggest? You sound funny. You sound like the ladies at Macy's. Jean, did you ever work at Macy's? And may I suggest? I love that, Jean. That is so funny. I don't mean it funny in a ha-ha way, just funny in the way my mind works. That is what I think. All right, so if we did, green would look pretty though. You're Canadian. I love it, Jean. Thank you. Jean, I think you are probably one of the nicest people I've ever had email conversation with. I know we've talked back and forth before, so thanks for that. So we're going to go with cherry cobbler. And then we're going to go with Night of Navy on the inside. And this is going to be our layer, what we put our houses onto. So this part here is going to be our window sheet. Or window, I should say. So we're going to get out a square and just figure out about how large we want our window to be. So if we kind of go with we go with the largest square, you just have to make sure that you have a big enough window sheet that's going to be able to go behind it. Okay. You can also do this. You could technically do it so you laid it on the front and then you could cover it back up if you really wanted to get fancy, but that's going to be a lot for right now, and I think we're going to be here for 2 hours if I try to do it that way. So we're going to go with the smaller way now. I'm going to cut, this is the largest square. It's who we are. Oh, All right, so we're going to cut the largest square, and then we're going to make the window sheet from here. My only one other bit of advice would be is make sure that you have enough window sheet, because sometimes, as you know how I've stamped before, like for example, this one is just a tiny bit on the slim side, so I'm going to have to cut a new piece. But if you're on the very end of your window sheets, just make sure that you have enough that you'll be able to do it. All right, so we're going to bring in the big shot, and we're going to cut our square out. I'm going to put this through. We have one acrylic plate, and I'm not going to put this through straight, because when you put this through, so if you were to put this straight just like this, sometimes it can warp your die. So you can line it up and then just like put it slightly askew, just so it doesn't hit this on the straight angle, because it's not really great for your dies if you cut that way. And I will tell you that I know that from experience, because I probably have warped many more dies than I care to admit. So I'm going to just use a little piece of washi tape to hold this in place. Add my other cutting plate, and then I'm going to run it through. You'll hear a little cracking, hopefully not too much. There we go. And you never, ever, 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 ever want to use like that precision plate with these type of dies. You only want to use that with the detailed dies, because it will really, really wreck these dies. I mean, they'll be bent. I've had ones before where little tiny shards will come off, so you want to make sure you're really careful when you do that. Okay, so let me move this out of the way. We are going to have to cut some more of those little houses in a minute, but we're going to get the rest of our stamping started first. Maybe I'll miraculously find them in the meantime. Oh, and look at that. Son of a gun. It's crooked. Even though I thought I put it on there straight. All right. Well, let's do this again. I'm going to just use this one just for the sake of not getting another piece out. So make sure when you do this that you take your time and you put it on there straight. So let's see if I can get it on there. And I swear my coffee does not have anything in it this morning since I've had 4 cups, I promise. Just coffee. Even though my stamping and my die cutting looks to the contrary. Thanks everybody for who's just now joining. If you are joining late, you can always follow us for the catch up. Basically, I've just cut a crooked square window, so don't do that. Oh, hi Angie, aloha from Hawaii. All right, so I know this looks silly, but what I'm going to do is to make it simpler, I'm going to cover it with this one, and we're just going to pretend like that's not there for right now. So we're going to cut a square just like that. Maybe that's the problem, too much coffee. I don't think there is any too much coffee, Donna. I have to disagree with you there. I've been drinking coffee since I was 3. My grandparents started giving me coffee when I was really, really young. So I always told them it was their fault that I was so short. So we're going to lay this here, but what we're going to need to do first is we're going to put our little houses down. So we're going to cut some houses, and let me move this out of the way. We're going to cut some houses with the hometown greeting. So if you notice on these houses are definitely different in size. So for example, these would be your farthest away houses because you can't see any detail on them. So if you wanted to figure out how you wanted to lay these houses, so that would be your farthest away. And then these would be the next closest. And again, you don't have to do all these. You could just do a few if you wanted to. These would be even closer still. So if you wanted to just to limit, because this is a little bit taller, you could always just put this short house on here, or you could put these up front. So what I think we're going to do is we're going to just do these 3. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. We're going to leave the one with the church out of it just because it is a little bit tall. Put this back down here and move this out of the way. And what I'm going to show you is, and hopefully, no, thankfully these aren't buried. So what I'm going to show you is these are the Sizzix adhesive sheets that are in the catalog. And what you can do with these to make something easy. So if you have something that's very detailed, for example, I did these a while back with the detailed Santa. What you do is you just put this on the back and then you peel it off so it makes this stick. So a lot less gluing. Very, very helpful for that. But what you can also do is you could use these. I'm going to see how many of these I think I can fit on here. So Oh, you can, these will fit on here easily. So 1, 2. So I'm going to just use, you know what? I'm going to use, this is a 1/4 sheet of cardstock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this up and then put it onto the back of it. Okay. So these 3 will definitely fit onto this 1/4 sheet. So what you're going to do is I just kind of, just for the sake of time, I'm going to just trim this. I'm going to trim just a little bit shorter since I know that we don't need that whole piece. And then same thing again, you can trim. So if you want to trim the edge off, you can. You could still have this little strip left over here. So we'll just trim this edge off. Okay. So then we're going to take our adhesive off. Oops. Just like that. Okay. So this is the part that's keeping it from sticking to everything. And you're going to just flip this over and just line it up. Best you can on there. Okay, so I have a little overhang, but we'll trim that off. It's no biggie. So we'll trim this off. Okay, so now you have a piece that's already going to have adhesive on it. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to run this through the Big Shot now. We're going to run our little houses through just like that, and like that, and these will come off very, very easily. Okay, so let me show you how to do that. Now these, so this one here isn't really very detailed. Okay, so this one you can get away using the regular plate if you were cutting a bunch of these. These are pretty detailed. Okay, these right here. So I'm going to use the other plate for that because there's a lot of things that the holes will poke. So I have my regular base plate, the thin die adapter, and then the precision base plate. So this acts as a cutting plate. So you want to have this so the gray side is up just in case you ever used it the other way. It still will cut that way, but it's not going to cut for very long because it's going to mess up and get all your paper stuck in it. So what you're going to want to do is just line your pieces up on here the best you can. And I'm going to put these all the way across just because I can always trim out the little parts that I don't want. And I'm going to just turn this a little bit to the side, okay? So if you can see that on there, it's a little bit to the side because I don't want it to go straight through. And then what I'm going to do is add just one acrylic pad. As you can see, this one's very well used. They'll all look like this eventually, no worries. Yours will look just as pretty. And then I do run this through a few times, okay? So I'm going to go back and forth a couple times. It sounds awful. I promise you, everything is fine though. All right. Ooh, sorry about the shaking there. Okay, let's see what this one looks like. Move this out of the way. If anybody watched my video today, I'm sure you can imagine the mounds of things that are almost, the one yesterday getting ready to fall off of here. Okay, so these also, just as a side note, they don't cut on the bottom. Okay, so you're going to have to trim this, or if you wanted to, you could leave it as a layer. But these do peel out very easily. So you could leave this as a layer here if you'd like. So this piece here I'm going to just trim off. And what I kind of do is just follow the curve that is on there. All right. So then we have one in here. Okay, so there's one. And this already has all the sticky on the back of it. So super easy to use. Move this out of the way. And then we just have our last one up here. And I'm going to trim this one out as well. And then this one is going to just be stuck right here. So I'm going to just trim this off. I kind of just made like a little bit of a slope as if the snow slope was like, you know, sloped down against if the wind was blowing around their house. You know how that is in the winter, especially Eugene, since you live in Canada. I'm sure you guys get a significant amount of snow. We don't get much snow around here anymore, sadly. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I have my 3 pieces. I'm going to cut this one off again at the bottom. So I'm just going to follow. If you can see from there, there's kind of that indent line from where the edge of the die is. You could certainly follow that if you wanted to. Make it like a little upsloping hill. And again, the other thing I've done with this before is if you don't really like the way the houses are, you can certainly trim them and just relocate them into a different direction. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to put this onto All right, I'm going to put this in here just for the sake of showing it. We're going to put this onto our card base, the inside layer, so we can figure out how we want them to be, because we have to figure out where do we want to put our greeting, or is there something we want to put in there. Kind of like that. You can layer them closer together if you like them closer. You can bring them farther apart. Just kind of depends on what you want to do. And then we have our Santa is going to go on the front, so he's going to be flying through the air. So we could completely omit something on the inside if you wanted to. Other thing you could do is you could use your white gel pen to write your sentiment on the inside, since this is on navy. You could do a little bit of white embossing, All Hearts Come Home for Christmas. You could put that up at the top, or you could move these to the top and put that on the bottom. But just keep in mind where your window sheet is. So you kind of want some of it to show through, but also the inside of the card, this way it kind of will stand on its own. You could also, if you wanted to, put these up on dimensionals. So if you figure you'd have 3 sets there, and we could have Santa on the top. So we're going to kind of stick like that. So I'm going to put the first one on, and then we'll go with it from there. And we'll decide after if we want to add a sentiment. You could always even add one on the front. Another thing you could do is you could put a sentiment on the inside, right on this flap up here if you'd like. So these generally, except I kind of trimmed most of my nails. They don't, honestly, they're not usually this difficult to get off. But they probably just are, because anything you do when you do it live is always much more difficult. All right, so this is completely sticky now. So I'm not going to push this down. I'm just going to set it there. Okay, I'm going to peel this one off as well. And again, this isn't attached to the bottom yet. So it has some wiggle room on where we're going to put it. The other nice thing about this is when you peel the backing off, it takes off almost all of those little pieces on the inside. So where's my piercer? There's only like one little thing here I had to pop out. So that's another bonus. It pops out all those little pieces there as well. So if we're going to put this, let's see, that one's up there. Put this over here. And I'm going to kind of just sit it for now. I could always trim off this little piece of a house and put this over here somewhere as well. So there's those 2 for now, which I think I'm going to do. I'm going to take this one off right here at the edge of the house. Whoops. We're going to set that up here. And since this is just kind of sitting here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a slope like I did on the other one. So just kind of make like that snow slope. Put this over here. And then we just have our last one. We can kind of put this. So let's just give this another eyeball. So if we put one like right around here. So right below. So I'm going to pull all this off. Sometimes you can find a little point that's peeling right here where this chimney is. This is a good one. So we're just going to pull this off. And you'll see almost all those little inside pieces come off with it. Okay, we only have like 2 on this one. Really like a little snow burst, and then the inside of this door and little window. So that's another bonus about using these adhesive sheets, because they take most of the stuff with them. So you don't even have to have your little roller really as much for that. So I'm going to sit this here, and I'm going to see what it looks like just barely closed. All right, we're going to go ahead and trim this house off as well. And I'm going to leave this one to have the slope on the outside. Oops. Uh-oh, hold on. Okay, let me line this up again. I'm going to leave this one to have the slope on the outside, and then I think I'll add this other little house in here. We'll put this one over. Got one more little doodad here. Right over here. Okay, so this still gives you a good amount of room that you could put your sentiment at the bottom if you like. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and push these down now. That was push and press together. All right, I'm going to put this one behind here. And if you don't like, the way this is lining up because this roof is covered, you can certainly adjust it. You could trim that one off and put it in a different spot altogether. But I kind of like the way they're lining up. Okay, and I'm going to just move this one up just a hair. Okay, So there you have all your houses. Only thing we have to do is just trim just this little bitty piece off. There's a little piece here, and then just a tiny bit right here. All right, again, don't mind that hole back there. Okay, so simple. And then you have everything that's going to peek through here, okay? So now what we're going to do, let me just give this a press. I'm going to go ahead and adhere this down to the base. So fast fuse. A lot of people still have problems with fast fuse. It's not snail, number one. That's the easiest thing I can tell you, because with snail, I know I push hard. Push hard. With fast fuse, if anybody, I hated fast fuse at first. I hate to say that word, but I did not like it at all. And I went through a whole tube or a whole roll before I figured it out. But if you can see how lightly I'm holding this now, let me get it started so I don't look like a liar. You just hold it so lightly and tear. So lightly and tear. Either way. And if for some reason, so I'm going to have to cover that up so my card doesn't get stuck. If for some reason it gets stuck here, which sometimes it'll get a little ball of stuff, just take your finger and just move it up just a little bit. So the easiest thing I can tell you with fast fuse is just be very light with your hand, okay? So I'm going to put some fast fuse on the back of this to get it to hold, because I do find that it holds so much better than any other adhesive, except maybe Tombow liquid glue, but I don't want to torture you by Tombowing this down. Tombow is great if you have something that you don't exactly know where you want to adhere it. So it gives you a lot of time to move it around. And I forgot I didn't do that. So I'm going to put my piece back in here so that way it sticks. Oh, how you like that? I just fixed the back of that card. Looks like somewhere where you'd go in and fix your water if your tub started leaking. So I'm going to put this down. And you still have plenty of room down here if you want to put your sentiment. And now we're going to work on our window sheet. So let me grab my window sheet. And this is in the online store as well. Comes in these whole 12 by 12 sheets. So you can make a lot of cards out of this. I've had a horrible time, Cindy, with fast fuse. I know, you're not the only one, trust me. Lots of people have a horrible time with fast fuse. And suddenly, I seem to have lost my trimmer. There it is. Lots of people have a hard time with fast fuse. You are absolutely not the only one. But it's quite simple to do if you practice, and honestly, if you're just very, very light with your hand. That's the best piece of advice I can give you. Okay, so I forgot what size my square was. So I have the square that I cut out, so I'm going to see that it is probably about, I was going to say, it's about 2 3/4 square. So I'm going to cut a 3-inch piece just so I make sure I have coverage. So I'm going to cut a 3-inch square piece to cover the opening. And you can cut this with your regular trimmer. No problem. And let's see. I'm going to make this just a hair bigger just because I'm probably going to goof it up somehow. All right. So now what we're going to do, and I'm hoping that I'm not going to make myself look like a fool when I do this. So please, I should have a disclaimer at the beginning of my stamping. Please don't try this at home unless I've tried it at least 3 times for you before. Okay. So I have my, this will be the first time I'm using this, so hopefully it'll work. I have my cutting board that I put a little bit of tin foil on. And this one is plastic. It's very old and very, very, very well used. I've seen people, if they do it before with wooden ones, they just do it right onto the wooden one. The reason I put this over for the plastic is because just in case the plastic heated, I didn't want it to get all stuck to it and then I'd have to pry it off. That would be super embarrassing. So I'm going to take my embossing buddy and I'm going to really go across this window sheet. Make sure it's nice and powdered up. Probably more than I needed to, but I brought my little Swiffer up here afterwards to dust it off, so hopefully it won't look too terrible. And I'm going to get my Versamark, and I'm going to do the little Santa and the reindeer flying through the air. So I'm going to try to pick a block that is most likely pretty close to him. Now I will say, I know this is a little difficult to see, so I'm going to put this underneath just so you can see this a little bit better. Make sure your stamp is clean, because yesterday when I did these, if you can see, the Santa in the middle had a big hole. and it's kind of hard to fix. The very last one I did, I cleaned this off super, super well, and the whole thing embossed really nicely. So I'm going to use white embossing, and I'm going to just clean him off just to make sure he's nice and clean so we don't have any issues like yesterday. And let me grab real quick. I have a little coffee filter. I was catching this in because I just had some extras. So I have white embossing powder, Versamark, and my stamp. And one other thing I want to tell you before I start, make sure you let your heat tool really, 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 really heat up before you even start doing this. And that's honestly with any embossing. The more you let your heat tool heat up ahead of time, the less time you're going to have to actually let it heat your embossing powder, which means the less wrinkling you're going to have on your cardstock or whatever it is you're embossing. So make sure you let this heat up before you apply it, okay? All right, so we're going to take our Santa and the reindeer and ink him up in some Versamark. Make sure he's got nice, good coverage. There's no little goofy looking spots on him. I'm sure somehow I'll end up having to fix something. And then we're going to just figure out where we want to put him. So kind of the way our card went, I'm going to put him up here near the top-ish. So I'm going to just put him up here. And again, just stamping straight up and down. Yeah, I can still see that. You know what? I can still, I'm going to hope, but I have a feeling there's going to be a little blotch there. We might have to do this one over again. But I'm going to try it. So I'm going to just dump some white embossing powder. And one other thing, when you have these window sheets, if you really have to flick it. Might even be handy to have a little tiny paintbrush. Oh, actually that covered pretty good considering. Might be handy to have a little paintbrush here because this stuff definitely sticks to it. So make sure you really flick it. Like Devo said, instead of whip it, you're going to flick it good. So I'm going to turn on my heat tool. Not going to hear me for a sec. I want to make sure it's nice and hot before I even start hitting it, okay? Because you also don't want to hold it onto this window sheet too long. It probably will warp. Okay. And mind you, the tinfoil will probably be a little hot. So there it is. Okay, so I'm going to give this a second because if you touch this right away, it will smudge. And let me tell you, embossing powder is very, very hot on your skin. Again, I learned that one the hard way too. So don't do it. Don't do what I've already made a mistake with. What do you tell your kids? Do as I say, not as I do. All right, so I just want to give that one sec just to make sure. And actually, I'm surprised it filled in on the center. I had a little teeny spot there that I was afraid wasn't going to fill in. These solid stamps sometimes can be a little bit hard to emboss. So if you make sure they're really, really clean, that really, really helps. Because there was like a little something yesterday when I was doing it stuck on there. All right, so let me clean this. So we do have a little bit of sparkles, but you know what we're going to say for this, and especially because it's white, it's going to just be like his little snow flying through the air. So you can see this does have a tiny bit of a warp to it. I don't know if it's because of me using the tinfoil as the backing or what. So make sure that you are very light with your touch with this. But let me just rub this a little bit. And actually, that turned out pretty good. Considering it was live, that was really good because, you know, usually when you do something live, I'd probably end up spilling it on myself and making a major fool of myself. But I didn't today. I'm so proud. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to just put this on the inside here. And you see, I did cut it just a tiny bit off, and it's going to be on the front. We're going to have to add something to this because this is a little boring. Now, again, you can use fast fuse if you want for this, or you could use another really great one to put this on is tear and tape. So I'm going to put some tear and tape around here just because it's a little easier to control exactly where you put it. So some tear and tape. And we're going to have to get the front. Maybe we could put that Joy to the World. That's a really fun one. This thing got stuck on the back. The Joy to the World that comes with this is really pretty. We could do that in, you could do it in white. A little bit over white on this card, though. You could do it in silver. If you really had a lot of time, the other thing that would be fun, too, is you could do some extra die cutting, and you could cut some of these trees and put them on the front. That would be really fun. So just give this a really good press before you peel it off. You can use your paper piercer to get these started if you need to. Oh goodness. Let's move on to a different one. All right, one more. There we go. Okay, and again, make sure you pay attention when you do this so you don't put your Santa upside down. So if you're going to put your Santa on like that, so we're going to put him so I can make sure he's covered in the window. Okay, and give him a good press. Now I did get a little bit crazy with my my tear and tape here. It's a little bit wider, so we can go back and you can either use a little bit of an eraser and you can erase this off, or the best thing, which I usually honestly do. Now it doesn't work so well with the tear and tape, but you can kind of run your finger on it. It will take a little bit more effort and this will peel right off. But I'm going to end up probably just covering that with a little something on the inside. So there's what it is going to look like. Let me just clean this off just a little bit better. Normally, if you were to have your window sheet, my window sheet would have been a little wider. That's why I said cut it a little wider than your hole so you can cover the edge as well. But there we have that. So it's a little peek through window seat, and we can just pretend like that little dust trail there is just Santa's magic flying through the air. So the only thing we have to add to this now is a sentiment. Joy to the world you could use, enjoy the warmth of the season. And you could stamp pretty much anything on the front of this. And if you don't really love stamping something else in white onto the red, what you could do is you could add a little white panel down here and you could stamp something on it. So how about if we do that? So we're going to add a couple of these little houses. I'm not sure which ones yet. And we will add Merry and Bright. How about that? Let's see what that looks like. So this piece down here, let me get my handy dandy ruler. And this is about, we'll go with how about a 4x2 piece of white. All right, so let me grab my trimmer and let me move this out of the way. So 4, we'll go with 2. Trim this up just a smidge. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp the sentiment first. And I'm going to stamp the sentiment in navy. So just so it gives a little bit of continuity to this card with the repeating of them. So we'll stamp the Merry and Bright first. I'll find a smaller one. We'll use Santa here. I'm going to stamp the Merry and Bright, and then I'll put the houses kind of around it. Another fun thing you could do is you could do this with Versamark. Let's do that. We'll do the houses in navy. Change my mind. We'll do the houses in navy. We're going to stamp the sentiment in Versamark, and we will use some silver just to give it a little bit of glitz. How about that? Okay. So same thing again. So I did the embossing buddy on the white, so we'll put the Merry and Bright. I'm going to put it up here at the top. Okay. Let me move this over. I swear, if you guys could see how much stuff is here now, I'm sure you would laugh. All right, silver. Grab silver. Dump this on. There we go. It's a little crooked, but that's okay. And same thing, I'm going to turn my heat tool on for a second. Alright, really, really pretty. A little bit crooked, but kind of everything today seems to be a little bit crooked. Alright, so I'm going to stamp now. Instead, I'm going to stamp my houses. I'm going to stamp my houses in navy, and we'll do these kind of at the bottom. So let me grab my navy. And we'll put these kind of near the bottom. Try one here. I can't wait till my Stamparatus arrives. Oh, see, kind of mucked that one up. Let me stamp this one off. My Stamparatus arrives. I won't have to worry about this because I don't usually put my stickers onto the back because I don't find that it sticks as easily for me. And I've tried the other techniques, which a lot of people have suggested, and they are really great techniques, but I just am a little lazy, if we're being honest. There we go, and I have a little bit of a halo, so we're going to have to fix that with some handy dandy hand filling in. All right, I'm going to leave that because I'm afraid if I add one more, I'm going to completely goof it up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, so I have a little bit of a smudge there. So I'm going to take my smoky slate marker, and I'm going to make a, there is a stamp for this in this stamp set. You have your little chimney smoke, but I'm just going to use my marker just because I want to kind of fix this little spot here that I goofed up. So I'm going to just make, let's see, I'm going to make a little smoke trail. And then this one is just going to be really long. You could always put some sort of another little gem to cover it if you wanted to, if it really bothered you that much. But we can put this one to the front, and needs a little something. Needs a little something else. Needs like a little corner rounding. You could do this if you wanted to round it with your, if you still have the corner rounder punch. If you have your envelope punch board, that also has a rounder, but someone's borrowed mine, so I don't have that with me. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to go with just a little soft sky, and I'm going to sponge it. Sponge the edge. Okay, and then I promised somebody yesterday I would show them really quickly how to put together the box that I made for my Christmas blog hop. So Team Stamp It, we do a blog hop once a month. It's up right now. If you go to rachthestamper.com, it will take you there. I'll put a little bit of this on the top just to kind of fill in the sky. There you go. So if you go there, there is a prize. We do one every month. I'm going to put that on there, but I want to see what it looks like. That's cute. It turned out really cute. Could use a little something around the edge of the window, but we're going to have to figure that out afterwards. I'm going to put this on with a little bit of fast fuse. What you could do is you could always double layer your squares. So it has this little scallop square, so you could cut one of these out if you wanted to, and you could layer that on top so it would look like you're looking through a little picture window, or you could do it with a little silver. That looked kind of pretty too. A little silver foil paper. But here's your peek through window sheet, and I will finish explaining what I was going to say in a minute. So corner rounding I think would look really cute on here as well. You could put it through a punch to get a little round edge. And then you can add your sentiment on the inside. And again, definitely make sure that when you put this on, you cut yourself a piece. So this is about 2 3/4 square. So you might want to go a 3 1/4 square of your window sheet, and I will put that on the blog when I make a blog post later, just so it completely covers your tear and tape area. But you can absolutely try embossing on a window sheet. It was really fun. It was very easy. So definitely something cool to do. Okay, so let me get back to this really quickly. So we do a blog hop once a month with Team Stamp It, and you can get started at rachthestamper.com. We always have a really cool prize. You do have to leave your first, last name and a comment and Stamp It contest to be entered to win. But what I did was I did these boxes, and the last few I haven't done a video on, so I thought I would show you guys really quickly how to put that together. I'm not going to decorate it, but I'll show you how simple it was to make. So this is a really fun card to do as well with your window sheet, which I never knew you could emboss on window sheets. It did get a teeny bit wrinkly, but definitely, like I said, the one idea is turn your heat tool on before you hit it. That way it's nice and hot, so it's the less amount of time that you actually have to heat it, so less warping that you'll get. Because this piece here is not warped at all, and usually mine would be definitely very warped by then. Okay, so let me show you. Let me get all this stuff out of the way so I don't make a mess, and then I'll show you that other box really quickly. So maybe you can make one of those today. Lots of fun. Okay, so what you're going to need for this is your Simply Scored scoring tool. Makes it super, super, super easy, okay? And I'm going to show you the template, and I'm going to show you the box. So this is the box, okay? This is decorated with the Christmas Around the World Designer Series paper, and I have all the measurements on that blog post. And I actually linked that in the description of this video. Will take you directly to that blog post, okay? So all you have to do is look on there. This is just a 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock. So you can make this for any season. It doesn't even have to be Christmas. So just to show you, I'm going to do one with Tempting Turquoise, okay? This is really pretty though. These are great because on the inside, it will fit the little note cards in the envelopes that are in the holiday catalog. You can use designer series paper if you wanted to. So you could give this to someone as a little gift. Really, really easy to make. When you see how easy to make this is, you're going to be so happy that I guarantee you're going to make one of these today. And then this is nice that I tied this loose enough that they could slide it off and on. Okay? So let me show you what to do. Very simple here. So this is a 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. And what you're going to do is you could do this 2 ways. I usually do it the Rachel way, but I'm going to tell you how to do it so it's a little simpler for you as well. So essentially we're going to score it 1 inch on all 4 sides to get started, or you can do it this way. So you're going to score it 1 inch, turn it around, score it 1 inch. Alright, so this is the 8.5 side. You scored it 1 inch on each side. Turn it to the 11-inch side. You're going to score it 1 inch. Then you're going to score it 5, 6, and 10. Or you could score it at 1 inch, flip it, score it at 1 inch, and score it 5 and 6. Either way, it's all getting you the same eventually. So you have your piece of paper. All you're going to do is fold on the score lines, just like so. I would definitely recommend using your bone folder because it's going to give you really crisp edges and a really crisp box that closes. So use your bone folder. Okay, then you're going to take your paper snips and you're going to snip, okay? So it's going to just look just like this little box here. So all we're doing is cutting these little tabs, okay? So you're going to cut, cut, all the way across, cut, cut. Turn it around, same thing. Cut, cut, and cut. Okay, and that's it. Now, only thing you have to do now, and I would suggest tear and tape, if I can remember where I put it. You could use fast fuse, but tear and tape is a little bit easier just because you can put the pieces down and rip them, and then take the release tape off. So
I'm looking for the big tree.
I can see that. Alright, I'm going to put it on this side as well. And then the only thing you have to do is figure out how you want to decorate it. So that's why I said you could give this to somebody for a Christmas present. I don't know if you, I guess, yes, you give gifts for Hanukkah. Since this reminded me of a blue, you could use, there's a really pretty stamp set in the holiday catalog. It's a lantern and also has some Hanukkah images in there as well. I don't know if Hanukkah is or isn't over, so please forgive me because I really don't know. I'm going to trim this little piece off here just so it doesn't stick. You could give this as a New Year's gift. You could give this as a birthday gift to someone in January if you have a January birthday like myself. Alright, and then all we're going to do is peel the release paper just like this. And I would suggest taking it all off at the same time just because it's easier. You can put the whole thing together at once. One thing I will tell you though, I'm going to put this box together. If you're going to put the designer series paper on it, you want to put that on there while it's flat. It's much easier to get it to stick. And again, I've learned that from past mistakes when I've decorated something after it's together. It's just hard to get it to adhere as well as you'd like it to. So if you're going to put designer series paper on it, you want to put it before you put this box together. So you can put a box on the top here, or a piece on the top here, and that would measure, a top piece would be, where do I have my measurements here? This would be 6 1/4 by 3 3/4. You can put a piece across the front. That would be 6 1/4 by 3 1/4, and then 2 pieces on the side here. 6 1/4 by 3/4 of an inch. 6 1/4 by 3/4. Okay. And all those measurements are on that blog post already. So if you are looking for that, all you have to do is click on the link. It's in the top description of this video, and it will take you to that blog post. So you're just going to put your pieces together. So that was the bottom lid and the top. And honestly, it can go either way. Okay, if you have a piece that you notice like you have a little scuff here, you want to make that your bottom, or you could cover it, either way. And then you're just going to fold these tabs in to make your box close. So 1 and 2. You can absolutely give these a little miter cut if you feel like they're going to close a little bit better. But it does close fairly easily, and there's your box. Simple as that. It made it a little bit more complicated because of me cutting and taping, but honestly, this is one of the fastest boxes you can ever make. And then all you have to do is just add your little note cards in here and your little pieces. You know, you could make them thank you cards. Maybe somebody could use these as thank you gifts. So you cut 3 by 6 pieces, fold them in half, add it with your envelope, boom, done. Put some ribbon around it, and you have a lovely little gift. So easy. And you could use any designer series paper. This could be for any occasion. I mean, you could make a whole bunch of these and have them handy for, like, if you forget to give. I make a lot of cards, but as I told you guys before, I never actually send them. So this would be a great idea if you wanted to make a bunch of stuff to have ahead of time. And if you were like, oh my gosh, today is so-and-so's party and I don't have a gift, just grab one of these. You just make sure you put some stuff in there and you just give it to them just like that. Because this is really pretty just as it is with the stuff on it. Just with the ribbon. So you could tie this close with some of that silver edge ribbon. Oh, so many possibilities. So thank you guys as always for joining. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you hanging around through the good, the bad, and the ugly of this video as always. If you have any questions, you can shoot me an email at rachthestamper@gmail.com. And again, there is a little goal that I'm trying to hit. My sales end tomorrow, November 30th. There is a hostess code, so if you place a $50 order, I will send you a free pack of faceted gems. I will send them to you personally. It will come in the mail with a thank you card that I will send you. So if you have any questions, please shoot me an email at rachthestamper@gmail.com. If you'd like to order anything in my online store, I really would appreciate it. I appreciate your support as always. And you could get there at rachthestamper.stampinup.net. Be sure, if you're on Facebook, you can turn your notifications on for this video, because then it will tell you the next time I go live, so you won't miss it, so you can get some cool information and just hear me jabber on about nonsense. Sometimes both. You never know. I thank you all very much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, have a wonderful week, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.